Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to another episode of On the Go. मैं हूँ आतिफ and joining me today, as usual, is Robert Downey Jr.'s younger brother, Danish Downey Jr. यार आपको हम हमेशा
आइडेंटिकल
हाँ, क्योंकि जब भी कभी कोई मुश्किल वक्त आता है, टॉपिक कंट्रोवर्शियल होता है और कॉम्प्लिकेटेड होता है, तो हमें एक हीरोइक प्रेजेंस चाहिए होती है. वो अकेले तो मैं कर नहीं सकता, तो उसके लिए जरूरी है कि एक आयरन मैन जैसा फिगर हमारे साथ मौजूद हो, और वो आयरन मैन आपको पता है दानिश है. आज का टॉपिक जो है, we'll try and keep it bilingual, mostly English. उसकी वजह ये है कि we have Sri Lankan and Indian audience as well, and the nature of the topic is such that we'll try and keep it in English. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do so, and if you've done that, thank you very much. Please feel free to comment, share, like, subscribe. Today we'll be talking about the World Cup and, more importantly, Sri Lankan Cricket Board's suspension by the ICC. Danish.
Absolutely. So this news came out a couple of days ago. It was a big surprise. So World Cup has seen a lot of upsets on the ground. Yeah, off the field upset was there also. So the ICC has suspended the membership of the Sri Lankan Cricket Board, citing government intervention into the setting up of the board. So as you know, the Sri Lankan performance was not up to par, and the political backlash was a lot country ke andar.
Yeah.
And then the government decided to dissolve the current board and set up an interim cricket board under the leadership of Arjuna Ranatunga, the 1996 hero of Sri Lanka. But the current board, I think, went back to the courts and got a stay order done. There was a lot of back and forth going on between the government and the boards. So ICC had an emergency meeting and they stepped in, saying till the time this thing is resolved, they are suspending the membership of the Sri Lankan Cricket Board.
Okay. They say cricket is a game of glorious uncertainties, but it becomes a game of undistinguished realities when politics gets involved. Danish, for me, this is not the first time that we've seen a cricket board being suspended by the ICC. I think there was a case back in 2019 also.
Actually, before we go to 2019, the interesting thing is Sri Lankan Cricket Board itself was reprimanded earlier in a similar situation where there was political influence. At that time, ICC did not suspend the board, but they did stop fund payments to the Sri Lankan Cricket Board till the time this political thing was resolved. Uske alawa, the thing that you're referring to is 2019 ke andar Zimbabwe Cricket Board. They had a similar issue with the board being dissolved and interim board coming in. So for a period of about 3 months, ICC had suspended the Zimbabwean Cricket Board membership as well, till the time the sports ministry there had stepped in and done the necessary changes jo ICC ko chahiye.
Right.
Or what you need to understand is it's not the ICC koi buhar and they don't like it or they have some issues with the cricket board. It goes back to a little history. Why is ICC so adamant about political influences into the cricket board? This goes back to 2011-2012. Us waqt ICC had given a 4-5 year plan, 2011 to 2015 ka plan tha, which included a lot of broader agendas, revival of test crickets, more bilateral series, more ICC events and more affiliates. But ek uska ek important point tha, one of the very main thing was governance. ICC wanted a governance review done, और उसके लिए they had hired external consultants, PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC.
Okay.
और इस पूरे project को, this whole thing was overseen by Lord Wolf.
Okay.
Or Wolfie. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly.
Okay.
So he was a UK lord and a law person there. So he oversaw it, and a Wolf report bani thi, which was then shared with the ICC board for 2012.
Yeah.
One of the things jo usme ek finding thi, and the main point was ke it was called democratization of the cricket boards, which meant that सारे जो cricket boards हैं, no government should have influence on the cricket boards.
Yeah.
The cricket boards are being funded. They should operate in independence, which means that board policies, selections, captains, coach hiring, whatever thing that the board wants to do, board की अपनी एक committee है, उसकी अपना एक governance structure हो, and they themselves should independently do it. And obviously, the biggest issue came out of all of our subcontinent cricket boards, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. All of them had issues where in the past, or even in certain cases, current practices, the government had a lot of influence on who is going to be appointed as the chief of the board. तो ये उसकी एक background है और and ICC has been pushing this agenda very hard to the point कि even for us back home in Pakistan PCB के ऊपर भी काफी pressure था इसके ऊपर and we have issues. We've tried to brush things over, but
we have a habit of brushing things under the carpet. But Danish, in today's world, where we see there is so much emphasis on transparency, even on the business front when we talk about things. And today, in today's world, cricket is a professional sport.
Yeah.
Even in sports, we find that ESG has kicked in. We're talking about environment, sustainability, governance, transparency, and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
Do you really think, with the amount of money which is involved, is ICC actually operating without any political interference? When we talk about cricket boards like BCCI, which is by far the biggest and the richest cricket board in the world, and has mighty influence over the ICC. I mean, effectively, you can say ICC is a shadow of the BCCI. So
it's BCCI ICC.
Exactly. So with that, and it's not just BCCI actually. All cricket boards, the amount of money which is involved. Do you really think that you can do away with politics when it comes to that? From what I understand, the Sri Lankan Cricket Board, which was dissolved, the president himself went to the ICC while the World Cup was on. And he was there, and he went to them and he said that, we want to, we would request you to suspend us. To suspend us, to put pressure on the government. So how do you see the political interference in the long run because of the amount of money which is involved?
It's very difficult to completely, आप कह दें कि politics are going to be kept aside. Let's take, BCCI as an example, right? I mean, the current secretary is the son of the current home minister, Vijay, which is, you can't deny the political angle there. But I think the issue where Sri Lankan Cricket Board ka problem aa raha hai, and I'll tell you a very interesting connection with the Pakistan Cricket Board. Sri Lankan Cricket Board ki constitution ke andar, in the constitution there's a clause which allows the government to suspend the board in case they find any wrongdoings or misgivings. Which is being exercised right now, which is the point of contention. और मजे की बात है कि PCB, Pakistan Cricket Board की constitution has the same clause, and in the past they have also exercised this. If you remember 2013 के अंदर, the board at that time was dissolved by the Prime Minister at that time, Nawaz Sharif, and Najib Sethi was set up as the interim board to oversee. Then they went, the existing old board went to the Islamabad High Court. There was a lot of back and forth, but thankfully that thing got resolved. But PCB ki constitution maybe that clause is there, and if ICC goes on a witch hunt and goes after them, then we are as open as the Sri Lankan Cricket Board. Or last maze ka connection, do you know who was the chief of PCB at the time when the board was dissolved?
Zaka Ashraf.
And Zaka Ashraf is the chief right now.
And the funny thing is, it's a lesson and perhaps a warning for Pakistan Cricket Board also to try and not to brush things under the carpet. In fact, try and sort things out. Because we recently had a case not very long ago when Pakistan Football Federation was also suspended by FIFA, and for exactly the same reasons. Political interference, no transparency, lack of governance, and political appointments. When we are doing, in any professional, in any profession today, you find a lot of people focusing a lot on, knowing your customer, doing due diligence and those kind of things. And, we say that PEPs should not be involved, in any profession, because there's conflict of interest and you feel that there is going to be political interference in business or whatever. You can't operate a sport where you have political people running the show. It also, I think, impacts the performance of the team. What we have seen in Sri Lanka's case, especially during this World Cup, where the performance of the team went down. Yes, they haven't performed up to the mark. You can blame the players for that. You can throw stones at the team's management for not managing the team so well. But the fact remains, in hindsight, these players too are human beings and they have emotions. They know if things are not honky-dory back home and the cricket board keeps on changing, there is an element of uncertainty which creeps in, and that reflects on the field when players are there. I think the same situation, and this is not to take away any kind of this is not to kind of protect or the player or Babar Azam or Pakistan cricket team for their performance. The fact remains that Babar Azam as a captain also has
issues with the current chief.
He has faced 4 chairman cricket board in the last two years.
Yes.
So, it ultimately does have an impact on player performance if there is uncertainty within the cricket board.
I would agree, but see, okay, I will say this, no doubt. See, player performance and player skill is on its own, but the things which are happening in the surrounding don't help. That is what I will say on that. And again, your point of why the political influence? The reason is that subcontinent countries, particularly, cricket has a very unique presence, it's a unique position. It's not just a sport, right?
Yeah.
It's obviously a main revenue generator.
Yeah.
It is a form of diplomacy. And most importantly, that the people are so passionate about it, it drives public sentiment.
Yeah.
So I don't think, in the foreseeable future, you can completely divest or divorce the political influence. Because cricket is influencing politics so much that politics in turn will influence cricket.
I think on that note, we'll take your leave. Once again, thank you for joining us. If you have subscribed to the channel, thank you once again. And if you haven't done so already, it just takes a click of a button. Please do subscribe and support independent media. Until next time, this is Atif and Danish signing off. We'll see you next time on The Go.
On The Go.